Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday, August 20th Board of County Commissioners meeting. We do begin each of our meetings with an invocation, and today we have Bernadette Wilkie with Radiant Church to lead us. Feel free to join if you would like.
Good morning. Thank you. Psalm 46 begins with these words: God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Let's pray. To our God of refuge and strength, we ask, as we gather today, we invoke your blessing on the discussions and decisions being brought forth today. We invoke your guidance and leading for the people of El Paso County to fulfill our divine callings and destinies that you have designed for us and for this county. We do not lean on our own understanding, but we lean on you to help us stand for justice and truth, to do what is right and honoring to you. Lord, we lift up all those who make our laws and ordinances, who enforce them, and those who care for and protect us. As our schools begin this year, please protect everyone from harm. Keep our children and teachers safe. Rebuke all evil schemes over all those dedicated to serving our citizens, and especially our children. We pray that you be our peace as we see storms around us, brewing wars, civil unrest, financial worries, and political turmoil. Be our Prince of Peace, our North Star, and our strong tower. Show us the way, for our eyes are on you. We put our trust in your unfailing love and faithfulness, and we pray all these things in your most holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Wilkie. Commissioner Vanderwerf, would you please lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 3.
Item number 3 is staff emergency items, and I'm unaware of any staff emergency items today.
Item 4.
Item number 4 is changes, postponements, and notice of the next meeting. I'm unaware of any changes or postponements to today's agenda, and the next meeting will be Thursday, August 22nd at 9:00 a.m. for land use.
Item number 5.
Item number 5 is the consent calendar, including items 5A through 5F1.
Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on any item on today's consent calendar? Hearing none in the room and none online. Thank you, Nancy. Commissioners, comments, questions, and a motion. Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. We do have on 5E in parens the words "to be determined," so just wondering why that's there.
Did we have a finalized draft attached to the backup documents, Madam Clerk?
We do, yes. The proclamation is attached in the backup.
Okay, so the final proclamation is in the package, and that just maybe didn't need to be there.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments and a motion?
I would move approval of the consent calendar.
I'll second. That has been moved and seconded. Any other comments? Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner. Aye. And the chair votes aye. The consent calendar passes 5-0. That brings us to item number 6.
Item number 6 is comments by elected officials and commissioner liaison reports.
Commissioner Williams, we'll start with you.
Good morning. The only comments I really have today are actually about my schedule. So of course, today we have our Board of County Commissioners meeting. Tonight I will be speaking at the Cherry Creek Crossing HOA meeting. Then on tomorrow evening, Wednesday, I'm going to attend the Black Forest Fire committee meeting in Black Forest. And then on Thursday, we do have the land use meeting as well as a road impact fee advisory meeting. And Friday night, we have the annual legislative barbecue at the Colorado State Fair. Always a fun time to go down to that. And then on Saturday, I've got an opening of a park in my district, and I'm looking forward to going to that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So for myself, I have the State of the Outdoors later today, starting at 4:30. And also prior to that is the Colorado Springs Public Art Commission meeting. Now that starts at 4 o'clock, and I won't be able to attend that, but it is going on today. And then tomorrow on Wednesday, the 21st, I'll be participating in the State Board of Health meeting. And normally this is an event where I drive up to Denver that starts at 10 o'clock. But in this particular case, they're doing it online because the agenda is fairly light. And so I think the meeting will be pretty quick. And then, of course, we have our land use meeting on Thursday morning, 9 a.m. And then also later on Thursday, I plan on attending a visit to the Fountain Ridgeway Apartments. It's part of Archway Communities, trying to learn a little bit more about some of the challenges that people have that are owners of apartment buildings, at least in part with regard to state legislative issues. And then on Friday, I'll also be participating, as Commissioner Williams mentioned, in the annual legislative barbecue. Really looking forward to that. And then I will also be participating on Saturday in the Pasta in the Park at the Myron Stratton home, and that will be at 5:30, and I think that'll be a great event. And then on Monday, before we get to our next Tuesday Board of County Commissioners meeting, I plan on attending the Lexus Grand Opening on North Nevada, and that'll be at 4:30. Also, with regard to the special session for the state legislature, I do support having that session, and I am just very, very interested in once and for all, and finally, the legislature fixing the problems that they created by decoupling Gallagher and Tabor a while back, and now as a result of not producing an alternative solution to that, now harming a lot of people, particularly people on fixed incomes. So I think the special session is appropriate and necessary, and they need to actually fix this issue once and for all in the state of Colorado on behalf of all the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So busy week. Tomorrow we got the CCI meeting, the Tax and Finance update. CASA board meeting for myself Thursday morning. Also the Chamber MAC. I got to see if I can make both of those meetings as well. They overlap. And then Thursday night, the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Commission community event here locally. Friday, also the legislative barbecue at the State Fair. And then Saturday, also they support the Tessa Pasta in the Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As Commissioner Gonzalez said, it's a very busy week. I have community corrections this week, as well as library and fair advisory regional building. Also that CCI meeting tomorrow. Also the legislative barbecue, I think that was mentioned this week as well. I too wanted to make just a quick comment about the special session now that it is more solidified, the 26th through the 28th. I think I am excited to see relief come for our citizens related to property tax. Of course, we were proud to be able to handle that issue for El Paso County, specifically on our own here, thanks to our adherence to the Tabor cap. But there is a lot of relief that is needed from organizations outside of El Paso County, and I think this is going to finally do the job for our citizens. I also just wanted to express a little bit of irony at the fact that we have on the national stage a individual who, on behalf of the Democrat Party, is talking about price caps for private businesses, and yet we have local Democrats here running our state who don't want to put price caps or property tax caps in a lot of cases. They don't want to cap themselves, they just want to cap private businesses. So I just find this a little bit ironic. I think it's important for us to remember that private business and free enterprise is an important part of what keeps our economy moving. And if government's not willing to impose those kind of caps on themselves, they should certainly not be looking to put caps on private businesses. Thank you.
Well said, Commissioner. So I wanted to start off by thanking my colleagues, and particularly Vice Chair Geithner here, for running things last week while I was in attendance at the National Association of Local Boards of Health. I think I mentioned before I departed that our public health director, Susan Whelan, and I had the opportunity to present. We presented a breakout session entitled Breathing Life into the Public Health Story. And so it was focused on what do we do and how do we tell the stories with the data that we are focused on. So that was an excellent presentation, and great to network with local boards of health from across the nation, all of whom are coming out of a really tough time to be in that role, in that position. So great to see that kind of back to normal as well. And thank you to my colleagues. Commissioner Geithner, I hear it ran smoothly, and you might have broken a time record with a very concise agenda. But also there were a lot of events last week, and I know the commission was well represented. I wanted to give a shout out to all of the accolades. The Southern Colorado Women's Chamber event last week, the Accolades event, really just had some fantastic people that are contributing to our community. It's great to see women supporting women, and I was very sad to miss that event, but very proud of all the honorees at that event. And I believe our county administrator, Brett Waters, attended that. Also last week, just a quick catch up, I had the opportunity to meet with Nate Springer at Care and Share. They are just doing a fantastic job of making sure needs are met in a time where families are making difficult choices between putting food on the table and perhaps some other things that were priorities in their life with rising cost of food. I think Care and Share is doing a great job of making a little bit go a long way and doing that very efficiently. And then also a shout out to Megan Latham and the Sports Corp and all the other sponsors of the Pikes Peak Regional Air Show this weekend. It was fantastic. I had the opportunity to take my family, and I tell you what, there's nothing more patriotic than, actually my favorite piece is that legacy flight, where they take the most modern aircraft and the oldest retiring literally on its last leg aircraft and put them side by side. And to just see that coming over the mountains is a sight to behold, and makes me very, very proud to be an American. It makes me proud to tell my 9-year-old son what that's about. And Commissioner Gonzalez, you look like you have a comment that fits right there.
I think I do. Nancy, I think I sent you something just like a minute ago about the air show. I forgot to mention that as well. I thought it was awesome. I don't know if she can play this or not.
Nancy, I'll finish up my comments real quick, and then that would be a great way to end our elected official comments today. Thank you. But it was just wonderful, and Megan and her team did a fantastic job. And sadly, it was hot. It was really hot, and I was actually a little bit sad to see yesterday's headline, which was more about the heat than about what actually happened at the air show. And I do have to say, I think Megan and her team were really prepared for that, and did a great job of taking care of maybe those who weren't as personally prepared for the heat. But great job, Megan and team. Today, I will be hitting a couple of events after we're done with our day here. One of them is the State of the Outdoors, and looking forward to hearing that. It's a huge part of our local economy. And then also popping in at Pikes Peak United Way's Giving Campaign kickoff. Later in the week, I have a health plan trust board, and on Monday, I believe Commissioner Vanderwerf and I have the Pikes Peak Workforce Coalition board. I think that is it. And Nancy, are we ready with that video?
All right, I hope this shows right. So, in my last year in Stan and Commissioner Vanderwerf's last year, rumors are that he actually got to participate, I think, in a quick little flyby, and so I think I heard you were a little nervous. So let's see if this video shows or not. So Commissioner Vanderwerf was supposed to do just a quick flyby. So, but I heard he was a little nervous. I'm kidding. There's a professional flyer trying to be funny, but I thought I'd take one last rib at you, Commissioner Vanderwerf. So, but love all he is a private pilot, and so thanks for all you do.
Madam Chair. Thank you. I just want everybody to know that the airplane that I own is a low wing, and that's a high wing airplane. So, but nonetheless, I do love flying. The air show was a fantastic event. I'm so glad that we do it. It is a community event. It actually costs the airport a considerable amount of money to hold that air show. So there's an investment there that the airport does partake in. But as you could see from the huge crowds, this is really a community event that everybody loves so much. They do it once every other year. And to Commissioner Gonzalez's point, that was a professional pilot in that airplane doing those maneuvers just 5 feet over the ground. Thank you.
Thank you. And I heard that the attendance was capped out at 15,000 a day, and that is what they ended up with. So very impressive feat, and what a great family-friendly event. We used it personally as the back to school hoorah for our little family, which was just great to see a lot of other families doing that as well. Okay, item number 7.
Item number 7 is community service organization reports, and there are none.
Item number 8.
Item number 8 is public comment on items not scheduled on the agenda. This is the public's opportunity to speak on an item that is not scheduled on today's agenda. And Madam Chair, I'm unaware of anyone signing in ahead of time to speak.
Thank you. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on any item not on today's agenda? Ms. Wilkie, if you can come on down, introduce yourself, and your 3 minutes will begin. While you're making your way down, can I make sure we have no one online? Okay, thank you, Nancy. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Bernadette Wilkie. I'm a retiree in this town and have lived here 20 years. So my question, I guess, is around the Tabor legislation that's being revisited apparently by the state legislator. And it sounds like you feel fairly confident, those of you who have spoken on this, that it's well written and it's fixing some problems. So my question is there any assurance that you can offer that the hard work that's been done to fix this, and it sounds like you feel it's a better deal than what was originally legislated, is there any confidence that this won't be changed and rewritten and tweaked? You know, all the work, all the foundations you've laid, do you have any input in the final outcome of that legislation?
Thank you, Ms. Wilkie. You know, typically in public comment, we try not to get into a back and forth, but your question is significant, and the answer is significant for our public to know. So I'm going to let Commissioner Geithner answer that one for us.
So to be clear, the special session is around fixing property tax, not Tabor specifically. So there won't be an impact to Tabor. I think in general, we're very supportive of Tabor here. And so what we're really doing in the legislative session is addressing an issue that was created with the repeal of Gallagher, when Gallagher was repealed and took those caps away from property taxes a few years ago. You know, the governor and those who ran that ballot initiative said that they would provide some sort of replacement that would, you know, come into effect that would prevent property taxes from skyrocketing. That did not happen as of yet, and there have been several attempts to make small fixes. Unfortunately, many did not think that that went far enough. And some of those were temporary, some of them were still increases. And so this is an attempt to get organizations together who have been working on this issue for the last few years and come to a compromise that can be agreed upon that is good for citizens, gives citizens a tax break, but also makes sure that there aren't any unintended consequences that leave local governments without the ability to provide important services like taking care of our roads and those type of things. So there's never any guarantee. There's a citizen ballot initiative process, which means any citizen could decide to bring forth another ballot initiative. Any legislator could bring forth another bill. But for the folks who have been involved in this particular compromise and conversation, they do not intend to move forward with any additional things. So that includes Michael Fields at Advance Colorado, who has run several ballot initiatives. That is a collaborative effort to try to come to a solution and stabilize what is happening so that citizens and governments all have predictability moving forward.
Okay.
Thank you. Great question. Okay. Are there any other members of the public wishing to speak on any item not on today's agenda? Thank you, sir. Please introduce yourself and your 3 minutes will begin.
Hi, I'm David Osborne. I'm actually here for something else farther down the agenda, but I did want to say thank you to the commissioners who supported us with the Highway 24 expansion and basically giving us a chance to stay in business. So thank you. I didn't talk to you personally, but I think I corresponded through your secretary, and I know that we did exchange some texts, and that, the encouragement was extremely useful in what was a pretty tough time for us. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public wishing to speak on any item not on today's agenda? And no one online still. Okay, item number 9.
Item number 9 is the called up consent calendar, and there are no items called up.
Item 10.
Item number 10 is the application by Falcon Food Store LLC, doing business as Falcon Food Store, to renew the fermented malt beverage and wine license located at 11150 Highway 24, Commissioner District Number 2, Jackie Allred, Clerk to the Board Manager. And Madam Chair, if I can, I'll just give a brief overview of the applicant.
Please do.
The licensee received a state violation of the liquor code on October 18th, 2023, and is not eligible for administrative approval at this time. They have met all statutory and policy filing requirements, and no adverse comments have been received from the Sheriff's Office. The applicant is present today to address any questions the board might have.
Okay, thank you. Do we have the applicant in the room? If so, if you would make your way down. The application itself is in the backup materials, and as our clerk to the board said, this is generally a renewal would be approved administratively and except in the case in which there were some violations. So it allows us the opportunity to ask you about the nature of those violations and what you've done to rectify that, if you would.
It was my son that did that. And the way our business works, he was out doing grounds. He noticed that the person running the front desk was out filling a propane, so he just kind of stepped in, and he was in a hurry to get out. He didn't check the ID. So, full responsibility, he dropped the ball.
Okay. And do you have some training in place for all of your employees to prevent that in the future?
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily training per se. We only have a staff of 9, so usually we're not all there at the same time very often. And, just talking specifically to each one, you can't have this happening. It's a point of pride for us, to be a positive part of the community. So, something like this was kind of a black eye for us. And for my son personally, having to have the big giant violation signs up all weekend while he worked, and being able to point at those and saying, you did that. So I think a little humiliation served him well.
Okay, are there any questions from commissioners or comments? Commissioner Gonzalez.
So what position does he still have with your company or the store?
It's the same position. And I would also add, we have been checked by the state since then, and no problems. I think August 2nd.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. In these circumstances, we often have an interest in seeing that the license holder does something very specific to prevent the reoccurrence, and not speaking to any one individual, but something about having a meeting that can be done individually or maybe as a group, and reiterating the law, making sure they understand that law, making sure how important it is to comply with that law. And, that particular type of issue is something that's important for licensure. For this type of license in the state of Colorado, it's important to this board as well. So the question for you is, have you had subsequent meetings with every employee that can sell? Have you gone through a process to explain to them in detail the law and how to ensure compliance with the law? Because, and that's kind of a component of retraining to make sure there's no reoccurrence. So have you done that?
Absolutely. That was done immediately,
Okay.
Each person I talked to, how important it is.
Okay.
And I have a friend with a teenage son. I was hoping to get together with them, just do our own personal check on him, but we haven't been able to get together on it. So I haven't
Great.
done it yet.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Williams, did you have a question? Okay, Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do, I appreciate if you want to just stay down here for just a second. Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks. I too appreciate the questions that my colleagues have asked around making sure that there's been appropriate training and information in front of everyone. No human is perfect, and I understand that. I think in the situation that you described where you have, someone who's in a hurry, it's easy for us all to fall into patterns of thinking everything is okay and taking shortcuts when we're in a hurry, and I understand that. At the same point, I would also be interested in whether or not you have come up with a plan to make sure that there's someone regularly scheduled at that counter that is not going to be put in the situation where they're being, kind of running from different areas and rushed in. Do you feel like that you now have a system that's not going to cause those type of situations where you have someone rushing and not paying close attention to the importance of checking those IDs?
I try to staff with 2 people as often as I can, but there are times when we get stretched a little thin. People go on vacation, people call sick. So I can't say that the situation won't happen again, but hopefully the way that it's handled will have been corrected.
Okay.
I mean, I've worked in that place, most of my life, and I've been in this situation, and I haven't done that. And as far as I know, it's the only violation we've ever had. I could be wrong, but as far as I know. So it really was, in my opinion, just a one-off mistake.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I do think it's, thank you very much for the answers, and it's clear to me that, you're personally concerned about what happened and you want to make sure it never happens again, and I appreciate the comment that you made about there's a history of that never really happening. This is the first occurrence you know of. I would encourage you to consider the idea of recurring training, recurring periodic training. I don't know if that needs to be annually or every 6 months or something like that, but it's just so important to keep training the team, keep reminding them of it, and and let them know that, with one violation that you've got now, if there is another reoccurrence, that will really place at risk your license. And so for the health of the company, for the health of the community that partakes of your services, it's just so important that people comply with it. And while this set of law usually doesn't change very much, laws do change. So it'll be really important to kind of have some type of periodic retraining, including retraining yourself, and doing a review of the law to make sure that if there is a change, you are made aware of it at the time, and then to make sure that your employees also cover that. So I would just encourage you to consider some type of planned, scheduled, periodic retraining to make sure no one forgets. Thanks.
I mean, I'll never be able to come in front of you guys again and say it's never happened before, so for sure.
Well, thank you. Are there any further questions for this applicant? Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. I do believe it was an honest mistake. I did not really hear a good formalized correction, though, for this. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, I do believe this requires a motion and an action from the board. Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hearing the questions and answers from my colleagues, I too believe this was a one-off mistake. And I think that you do understand the serious implications for both the community and your business. But to Commissioner Gonzalez's point, as Commissioner Vanderwerf suggested, having that training, I think I would like to ask you, will you commit to making sure there is a periodic training?
Sure.
I think that is important for all of us in this. And I'm not going to get into specifics, but your commitment saying, yes, you are going to do that periodic training is enough for me to say that I will be in support of this. But I want to make sure that you understand how we really expect when we see a violation like this for there to be a corrective action plan. And so, yours is a little more anecdotal than maybe some that have come before us in the past, but, businesses operate very differently. I understand you're a very small business, not one of the big, kind of corporate types that we can also sometimes see. So your word that you're going to put into place that periodic training to make sure that that is continually updated with your staff will give me the confidence to go ahead and make a motion, since this is in my district, make a motion to approve this item.
And I'll second that motion.
That has been moved and seconded. Any further comments? Okay, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
And just please remember that promise and commitment for the periodic training. Thank you very much. Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Nay.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 4-1. Thank you very much for taking this seriously, and we hope that your next application can be administratively approved and you have a thriving next few years between that with well-trained employees.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Did I summarize that vote, Madam Clerk? Okay, thank you. Item number 11.
Item number 11 is department and committee reports, non-action items. 11A, quarterly sales and use tax report 2024, quarter 2, April, May, and June. Nikki Simmons, Chief Financial Officer.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nikki Simmons, Chief Financial Officer. Here this morning to just quickly present to you the results of our sales and use tax collections through June of 2024. As I state in every presentation that I do, this is the most recent sales tax information we have. So this is consumer activity through the month of June, which was then remitted to the Colorado Department of Revenue in July and received by us in August. And so this is the most current information that we have. As you can see, the collections for the retail sales tax is up 3.9% year to date. It was only up 2.13% during the month of June. year over year. But then use tax on automobiles was up 2.45% or 1.56 year to date. And then the building material use tax, which is primarily collected through the Department of Regional Building, as well as directly through El Paso County Sales Tax Division, was down 14.18% year to date. And so all of that combined has our sales tax up 3.4% year to date. That is a little above our budget and very close to the forecast that we've been using throughout the year. As a reminder, we budgeted to be up 3%, but since the rest of the year has been trending a little bit stronger, we have been forecasting to be up 3.5% as we continue into our budget planning for 2025. So very close to those trends. You can see here, year to date, we are exceeding our budget by $2.2 million for the year. So that was my very brief presentation on sales taxes for the month. Or if there's any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Do we have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 12.
Item number 12 is the addendum, and there are no addendums today.
Item 13.
Item number 13 is the executive session. 13A, executive session pursuant to CRS 246402, 4A, 4B, and 4E regarding real estate known as the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department located at 2880 International Circle, Colorado Springs, Colorado, 80910, to address the following: the acquisition or modification of a real property interest, conference with the county attorney's office for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions and determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators. Kenneth Hodges, County Attorney.
Is there a motion to go into executive session?
I move we go into executive session for the purposes stated on the record.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf?
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. We are now in executive session.